The first one is from the Blackadder. Who were your favourite TNA knockouts to work with during your time with the company? And I thought this would be a great jumping off point. I gave you some homework before we went on the air to name your Dutch's top 5 best TNA knockouts ever. And we'll start with number 5, who I will refresh your memory. You said Roxy and Jackie.
Roxy and Jackie, but let me preface this by saying the knockouts was my idea. And if I expressed how they got started, I brought it up one day that we need some girls, and it wasn't met with 100% approval. I don't know why. Vince Russo, he didn't say yay or he didn't say nay. Jeff Jarrett, he looked at me like I had two heads. Dixie Carter, she never said one way or the other, but I said, guys, we need something. We can only do so much wrestling with guys. Let's do it with the girls. And we brought the girls in, and nobody wanted to touch them except me. So I took them as my project, which I wanted to do anyway. And I set the girls down the first time we had them at an Impact taping. And I said, girls, you're no longer whores. Can I say that word? You're no longer bitches. You're no longer sluts. From this point on, you're athletes. And I want you to go out there. And I said, I want you to put these guys to shame. And they liked that. And they all pulled together, worked together. And I've often heard that you get a bunch of women together, you could have a lot of drama, which is true. But I had no drama out of these girls. They were just so glad to be a part of something. And I told them, I said, this is going to be big. And I was the only one that believed it. The only one. So I took these girls, and I probably had about 30 maybe that I had there, and more came later. But the ones that I liked the best, and I'd put them in the number 5, was Roxy and Jackie Moore.
Oh, this is Roxy Laveau, isn't it?
And me and Road Dogg gave them that name. We wanted her to be like, just a gimmick was like, she's from the swamps of Louisiana. She could put a curse on you. But we didn't take the gimmick into the ring. We just left it outside. That's where it should be. And she went in there and she just kicked ass. She'd do anything you wanted her to do. Work her butt off. I mean, those matches really, really look legitimate, as legitimate as you can go. And that's what I liked about her. She worked hard and wasn't hard to get along with. Of course, I don't mind the not getting along with somebody if they can do the job and do it correctly. But she was easy to get along with too. And she had based her life around wrestling and wanted to do it. But, you know, I think something about wrestling that people don't really know is you only got a limited number of years you can do it. I mean, your body will give out. You can't go in there night after night after night after night and do a wrestling match in front of 1,000 fans or 2,000 fans, or because your body will wear out. But Roxy was probably one of the toughest girls we had there, and she did well. And I'm gonna put her in the number 5 spot out of about 30. The other girl that I had to have her on this list was Jackie Moore, and I knew that girl from Memphis. She was one tough woman. She'd go in there and get these girls and just tie them up. And she was shorter, but she was feisty. And if you wanted to fight, she was okay with that too, because she would get down in the dirt with them. I mean, we didn't have that problem, but she was good, a great talent to have. And I like Jackie because I knew her a long time. And she'd do anything you want to do. That's the type of people I like to work with. That's what football coaches like, or basketball coaches. She would put the effort in and the time to get there.
Do you want me to give you the name of number 4, or can you? Because you don't have the list in front of you, but I do.
I can remember it.
Okay, so number 4
was She goes by Chelsea Green now, and she was Laura Van Ness. And we did a deal with her. And why I picked her is beautiful girl and easy to talk to, beautiful smile. You know, you just felt good being around her. And so we had a wedding, and this other girl was going to be in the wedding, and Laura Van Ness was like one of the bridesmaids. But the husband really liked her, and we let this, I don't know, I just got there when they was doing it. But the wedding between the two we had planned didn't work out. And so the husband-to-be said he loved another girl, and it was Laura Van Ness. Oh, no, he left Laura Van Ness standing there, and he took another girl. And I remember we did a vignette after the show. She was still in her dressing gown and crying. You know, she was distraught. And then the next week, she was still in her dressing gown. And we kept her in the gown for like 2 months. And then she would mess her makeup on her face, and it got over. People loved this girl. And she had actually a really nice look, even messed up. She really had a nice look, and people really, really liked her. And I forgot what happened, but I think I started getting heat from somewhere, like we need to get her out of the dress and dress her up. And I told them, I said, well, as soon as you dress her up, she just like all the other girls. She just like them. She's not distraught anymore. And she gave great interviews. And she's married now to, what's his name?
Matt Cardona, the lucky boy.
Matt Cardona. And she's really a good girl, and I loved working with her. So I put her to the number 4 spot of the all-time TNA knockouts.
Mm-hmm. And I'm superfluous here. All I get to say is number 3.
Number 3, and this is a tag team, I'm going to put in there. It's the Beautiful People. It was Velvet Sky and Angelina Love. They were the Beautiful People. And they kind of put this gimmick together themselves and presented it to us. And we use it. And they did great interviews. Angelina Love can talk. They did great interviews, and they were very, very easy to get along and easy to get heat on. I mean, people just didn't like them because they were such snotty girls, and they were great to work with. I actually enjoyed my time at TNA working with the knockouts. If I had to do that for the rest of my career, it'd be like a piece of cake. But you know where I got a lot of my ideas for these knockouts?
No, I don't.
From the what was the show that used to be on with the girls? I'll have it in a minute. It was an all wrestling show, just for girls.
Wow. Not Wow.
Women
Glow.
in wrestling.
Glow.
God. And I'd watch that show, and the wrestling was the craps. It was, but I liked the show. And they would do all these, and then they come out with documentaries about Glow, which I was a fan of, but I just liked the show. So I took a lot of those ideas that I had for that show and put them in this one. I took the goofy ones out, and I made them athletes, and the people started believing it. Number 2, which is almost could be number 1. But number 2 was Gail Kim. Gail Kim was a leader amongst that locker room, a real leader. And the other girl, I'm going to put number 1, I'm going to jump to it, was Awesome Kong. So, and Awesome Kong came about because I told Gail that I was going to start an all-women division. Oh, she got all giddy because she wanted to wrestle. She was running around managing somebody. I think Jeff Jarrett.
American AMW, America's Most Wanted, she was managing at one point.
And she was with them too.
Yeah.
But we weren't making proper use of her talents. And I'd expressed that to her several times. And I told her that I'm going to try to get an all women's division, which she liked. She loved it. So finally, when I got it okayed, I told her, I said, I need some girls. Who you got? And she said, I got this girl in Japan right now. Here's a tape on her. She gave it to me. It was Awesome Kong. So she gave me that, and I started watching it, and I went home and I watched it. Excuse me, now I'm coughing. This girl, if you didn't know that it was a wrestling match, you think it was a shoot. I mean, they were just beating the living crap out of each other. And I saw the tape, and I saw the gal the next TV, or actually the next day, I think. She said, what do you think? I said, I want her. She said, when? I said, yesterday. I said, let's get her here as quick as we can. Let's get her name on a piece of paper. So we did. And it took me about 3 months, maybe a little more. I worked this angle between Gail and Kong. And we finally went to a main event. And we did a main event with the girls long time before WWE did. And we did a rating which was paltry then by WWE standards. But for TNA standards, we didn't double, but we did about 30 or 40% better. We did a 3.4, which was over, I think it's 2.5 million people then. And we never even come close to that. But it was for a knockout match. And it was Gail and Kong, and they had as Jim Ross would say, a slobber knocker, because they beat the living crap out of each other all over that arena. And I was proud of them. And I think that still stands for the highest rating in TNA history. The only one that beat it was Hogan's first appearance in TNA. That's the only one that beat it. They did a 3.4. If it had been 2 or 3 more points higher, it would have, and they go to the finest, the nearest 10th point, it would have done a 3.5, which that's just for bragging rights, but it was a very, very good match.
What gives Awesome Kong the #1 spot and not Gail Kim?
Because she had a lot of, well, she's bigger and she's more, I mean, if Kong was standing on the street and she stood her ground, I think a lot of men would say they would be kind of leery about taking her on in an actual fist fight, because she's trained in MMA too, and the strikes and the back fists and all this. She's tough. She is really, really tough. And I think why I gave her the #1 spot is not because she didn't have more experience than Gail, but she had trained in Japan. So she could back up what she said. Because this girl her and Gail liked her and wanted to work with her. And I think that helped their matches. Kong was tough. She was smart. And I just liked her, and she could do the job.